Tonight, Trackhouse is bringing Helio Castroneves to NASCAR. Can he successfully qualify for the Daytona 500 and become the third driver to win both the Indianapolis 500 and the Great American Race? Zane Smith is returning to Front Row Motorsports, this time in the Cup Series. Does Smith have a lot to prove in 2025? The Belgian Grand Prix is going to begin rotating on future F1 calendars. Is this a good move for one of Formula One's most popular tracks? Hello to all of our viewers watching here in the United States and around the world. Welcome to Grid Tonight, your weekly motorsports news program. I'm Kobe Lambert. With me are Joshua Birch from JB Motorsports and Matt White from Grid Endurance Performance Index. Happy to be here in 2025, our first show of many this year. Really excited to have you all here and looking forward to talking about motorsports. And we encourage everyone to interact with us in the chat, support us through Super Chat, and visit gridnetworktv.com for our latest content. And before we begin tonight's show, we want to acknowledge the devastating Palisades fire that's causing catastrophic damage in the Los Angeles area in Southern California. We're thinking about everyone who's been affected by that, including our Grid Network teammates who live out there. I believe we have a couple who live, out there in that area, so definitely keeping them in our thoughts as well. And with that said, Josh, you can take away with our top story this evening.
Thank you, Kobe. Happy New Year to you. Happy New Year, Matt, and Happy New Year, everybody, as well. And thoughts and prayers of everybody affected right now and being evacuated. Horrific scenes we're seeing out there as well. So let's get into it, shall we? Glasses on and into a new year. Our top story tonight, 4-time Indianapolis 500 champion and 3-time Rolex 24 and Daytona race winner Helio Castroneves will attempt to qualify for next month's Daytona 500 and make his NASCAR Cup Series debut. Trackhouse Racing is bringing back the Project 91 car for Castroneves. He'll be driving the number 91 Chevrolet, sponsored by Wendy's. This means that Trackhouse has 4 drivers from 4 different countries, with Ross Chastain for the United States, Daniel Suarez from Mexico, Shane Van Gisbergen from New Zealand, and Castroneves from Brazil. If Castroneves were to win the Great American Race, he would become the 3rd driver in history to win both the Indy 500 and Daytona 500, potentially joining the likes of Mario Andretti and AJ Foyt. Now, since the number 91 Chevrolet is an uncharted open car, Castroneves will need to qualify by racing his way in through the Duels or falling back on qualifying time. The photo courtesy there of Trackhouse Racing. Matt's with me to answer all this as well. Matt, good evening. Happy New Year. How exciting is it to see Helio Castroneves entering the Daytona 500? And will he have an uphill battle to make the race, since we're expecting to see a more competitive group of open cars on the entry list?
Well, Happy New Year to you, Josh. Happy New Year to Kobe. Happy New Year, everybody. It might be, the 8th, but we can still say Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you too, Joe. And Happy New Year, everybody. And Adam as well. Everyone, all the regulars are back with us, which is great. Spread the word. We're here every Wednesday until next Christmas, basically. Pretty much all the way through the year. We're back for another big year of 2025. Castroneves to Daytona then. You said if he wins, which is a sentence that you go, yeah, okay. It's Helio Castroneves. So the likelihood is that this could happen. If only they found a spot for him in that GTD entry we talked about before Christmas with McLaughlin, Van Gisbergen and the like in the Corvette. That would have been cool. But yeah, great story. More eyes again for NASCAR to get them in the spotlight in the early part of the season. Of course, he's got to make the race on qualification time and through the duels and everything else. But if he can get there, then so be it. We know that they're pretty decently strong on super speedways, as we've seen in the last couple of years. Chastain got a win at Talladega. Suarez had that win at Atlanta last year by about that much in the early portion of the season. So we know that the Trackhouse package is good on the super speedways. Really exciting, big sponsor to come with Wendy's. Of course, they've been part of the Van Gisbergen project last year, which is a strange thing that we're now saying that was last year, but it was. So this is all really, really cool news, and I think there'll be. I can already see the high shot from the grandstands as the cars come off of turn 4 at some stage in the race when he finds himself in the lead, and all of the patrons and the crowd down there in Florida going potty, because if that happens at some stage during the race, then that'll be just a cool thing. Just another. We talked a lot of there's been a lot of bad news side stories with NASCAR over the last 6 months with all the Denny stuff off track, but this is another on track good story, which is great to see and great to kick off the year with.
I can just hear, even though I'm going to be doing the commentary as well, I can just hear Matthew Owen screaming coming out of Zone 4. It's echoing back in time. And Mike Joy, yeah. It's going to be a lot of fun this year as well. In the team's press release, Castroneves said he never imagined entering a NASCAR race in his wildest dreams. Bit of Taylor Swift from there. But he felt like this was an opportunity that nobody in their right mind could ever turn down. However, he understands that this is going to be a huge challenge for him, but knows that Trackhouse will have the right people in place helping him prepare. Now, yesterday, Castroneves did a virtual media availability session. According to Steve Taranto from CBS Sports, the Brazilian driver said that NASCAR is going to allow him to take some laps around Talladega Superspeedway in the Cup car before Daytona, in order to get familiar with how the car works and everything around there as well. Now, he'll also get to participate in the Cup Series practice session on the morning of single car qualifying for the Daytona 500 as well. Now, 2 decades ago, Castroneves did compete in the IROC at Daytona and ran reasonably well in the draft. Adam says as well, Helio does have experience, of course, thanks to the IROC racing series in the past. Of course, Adam, being a keen motorsport fan, knows and remembers it well going forward. But it was announced earlier on today that Castroneves will enter the ARCA Menard Series race at Daytona to get more super speedway racing experience as well. He'll drive the number 82 Chevrolet for Pinnacle Racing Group as teammate to Brendan Butterbean Queen. Castroneves said that he's looking forward to competing in the ARCA race at Daytona because the additional seat time will help him the following day in the Daytona 500. And Matt, do you think that testing the Cup car first at Talladega and then running in the ARCA race at Daytona separate will give Castroneves a great shot at being more competitive in the Great American Race, assuming, of course, that he makes it and qualifies in?
Yeah, exactly. That's the most important thing. He's got to get in on time and then through his duels. There's no point sending him for a test, is there, at Kansas, Homestead, somewhere, Texas Motor Speedway. So the only other place you can go, and of course Daytona's pretty busy for the next couple of weeks with their on-track activities, is Talladega. So, I mean, single car test, I don't think he's going to learn much, but he'll get him acclimatized to the vehicle and, learn that kind of thing. He's not been in the seat for a while, has he, in anything? So take him a while to get up to speed. Of course, that ARCA race 10 generally at Daytona at the beginning of the season is an absolute head mess, let's say, without trying to swear on air. So he's just got to try and survive that, as Shane Van Gisbergen had to do last year in a kind of similar situation, so he could get into his Xfinity seat for the Daytona race. So kind of a similar thing, but he doesn't have to do, from what I understand, he doesn't have to do the same procedure because of all his, of course, oval experience through all the IndyCar stuff. So he's not got that to worry about, whereas Van Gisbergen had to get his mileage in to be into the race for Xfinity. So slightly different scenario, although very similar. But yeah, just getting himself acclimatized to the car and stuff is going to be interesting, and see how he goes from there. But as we've already said, if he can get to the race, it's going to be a big thumbs up for NASCAR. Fox will be all over it, of course, with all the promotion, and they'll have all the stuff in the pre-race. So going to be exciting.
Follow-up question just quickly coming in as well from Leonardo. Good evening to you. I don't know much about Helio, but he's a very electric and upbeat personality that you can't help to root for. So now I have a reason to watch the 500. Absolutely fantastic reason as well. And Joe says as well, Speed Week is going to be a must-watch. Quali, Duels, and the 500. We're going to be very busy as well. Adam says, this reminds me of when Alonso Jr. competed for Hendrick Motorsports in the Daytona 500 as well. I want to tie back actually quickly to a follow-up after we get to Matthew Owens here, who says, with very little practice for the qualifying race, I'd imagine Trackhouse puts everything into getting Helio in on speed on Wednesday night and use Thursday night as a 150-mile practice session for him. I agree there as well, but in essence, we saw Kyle Larson last year adapt to Indy 500 and all the drivers helping him, including Helio Castroneves. Would Kyle Larson come and help Helio now as he's transferred over to his end of the pond and sort of say, look, this is what you've got to do? Do you expect the drivers to sort of take their arm around and say, we'll help you because you helped us?
Yeah, I guess there'll be a lot of Chevrolet family bonding going on with Castroneves and the Trackhouse team, all four of them now, and then obviously outside of that with Chevrolet. To Joe's point about Speed Week, it's been such a long time since we've had a really interesting Speed Week where we're going to have, to use the Indy 500 term, bumping going on and people falling out in the duels and stuff and not making the race. It's just seems like forever since we've had a really interesting kind of subplot to that week through qualifying and the races to get to the big race, which is always exciting for the go or go homers.
It's going to be a great week, and that kicks off, of course, next month. Matthew Owens saying because he won't learn anything about drafting in a test at Talladega, and almost nothing he'll learn in that ARCA race will translate. No, it's literally like, what is it? Fishing in a pond in your back garden compared to fishing in the middle of the sea. It's two completely different worlds.
Or to use the Daytona example, in Lake Lloyd.
Yeah, that's a good one, actually. Yeah, I'm getting used to Daytona. Me and you are going to be fed up with Daytona by the end of this, by the end of February, because we'll be there non-stop. We've got the Raw before the 24, Rolex 24, Speed Weeks for Daytona, and then the 500 as well. And then we crack off, of course, because the regular season ends now back in as well. So another additional driver will be driving, of course, because Catherine Legg will be adding a new style of racing to her resume when she competes in the ARCA Menard Series season opener at Daytona. Legg will drive the number 23 Chevrolet for Sigma Performance Services. Now, throughout her career, she has raced a lot of different cars in open wheel and sports car racing, even made some road course starts in NASCAR Xfinity Series and one oval start at Richmond. Legg is also going to be driving a midget dirt car in the Chili Bowl Nations next week. So she said that she's excited to jump back in a stock car and has made thousands of laps around Daytona, but never on an oval in the draft. The photo courtesy there of ARCA. Yeah, of course, she's been competing in the Rolex 24, so has done all bar turn 1 and 2 effectively on that one. Joe says, with Trackhouse equipment, I assume one goal is to have him qualify in the front row to secure a spot. I would assume that they're going to just time to go for it and not lift off the throttle.
Don't get me started, Joe, on Daytona 500 pole qualifiers. That's a thread we don't want to be going down this early in the season.
Hey, I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait. It's always one of the good ones.
It's going to be cool, but if he gets the pole position, if he gets the pole position, then we can just add that to the list of bits of fix. Anyway, carry on.
We're 13 minutes in to this show. I'm about to make
it's gone wrong already.
I'm about to make my first point. Even Danica did well at Daytona in qualifying. So let's just hold our hands up here. That you don't necessarily have to be a good racing driver. Right. 13 and a half minutes in, one Danica down. So with major names like Castroneves and Legg winning in the ARCA race at Daytona on Big Fox as well, is this now becoming a must-watch race? And could you see Catherine attempting the Daytona 500 in the future?
Good to see Legg putting together this program. She's had some Xfinity running in the past previously, but most of those have been on road courses. So good to see her doing the oval stuff. Chili Bowl Nationals is going to be cool to see how she gets on in that. That's going to be, I mean, that's just a great event anyway, regardless of who turns up. But yeah, this ARCA race at Daytona, I think, because we all and I'm still watching stuff from September, so it's not a problem to me. We pander for all this stuff over the off season. As soon as we get to Daytona, everyone goes, "Oh, here we go! I'm going to watch the ARCA race." And then you sit there through 2 hours of caution and realize it was probably a bad idea. And then you don't watch ARCA again for the rest of the season, and realize it was a good idea. No, I'm joking. But yeah, I think we have the Van Gisbergen thing, which I talked about before last year. Now we've got Castroneves and Legg, which sounds like a row 7 of an IndyCar race from about 2007 and I don't know, St. Pete or somewhere. but they're in the ARCA race at Daytona to try and get themselves in to the rest of the weekend's racing. So much like the Castroneves story, good to see other people coming and having a go. Let's hope that they're successful at doing so. And Kat has her own, from the female side of things, she has a good following and stuff all the way back through the IndyCar days and from the IMSA paddock as well. So another bunch of people that will be, tuning in to see one of their favourite drivers do well.
15 minutes in, 2 digs already. We're for a new record this year. Ben's with us as well and says, and that will be the first of about 297 unprovoked shots at Danica Patrick from Josh this season. Yes, it probably will be. And
start the Charlie chart now.
Yeah, start. That's 1 for Danica as well, which is more than the victories she ever got in either. Well, that's 1 victory she got in IndyCar, but you can't technically call it IndyCar race because that still was in the split. So half the actual drivers were at Long Beach for the final kart race and half of them were in Japan. So technically that's 1 victory that she's managed to get in IndyCar and still 1 better than she ever managed in NASCAR. That's 2. Adam says Joe got to beat those Hendrick Chevys regarding the front row for the Daytona 500. Absolutely, as you're also going to remember Glove last year with Logano getting in the pole position alongside Michael McDowell. So I promise not to do any more Danica jokes for the second of the program. I promise. So, following a federal judge's ruling that allowed Frontline Motorsports to obtain 1 of the charters from Trackhouse Racing, the team has signed Zane Smith to a multi-year contract in the NASCAR Cup Series. Now, Smith will drive the number 38 Ford full-time, joining teammates Todd Gilliland, who takes over from the number 34 from, as I mentioned a second ago, Michael McDowell, and Noah Gregson is going to drive the number 4 front row. And Smith have some good memories together, of course, winning races in the Truck Series, including the 2022 Truck Series title. So it's a good partnership. Starting off with, he also ran part-time Cup Series schedule for the team in 2023 when he made the Daytona 500 in an uncharted open car. Then got a top 10 in the Coca-Cola 600 at Charlotte in the same year. Now, Ryan Bergenti as well will be his crew chief in 2025, the same crew chief he worked with during his handful of Cup Series starts in 2023. In 2024, Smith competed in the Cup Series full-time for Spire Motorsports as a Trackhouse Racing development driver. Now, Smith's rookie season in NASCAR's Premier Series got off to a rough start, but he improved his results during the second half of the 2024 season. However, it still wasn't enough to convince Trackhouse to keep him and move him into the 3rd Trackhouse Cup car for 2025. Instead, Trackhouse chose, as we said, Shane Van Gisbergen and left Smith's career in limbo until Front Row got the green light to receive the 3rd charter. Now, Smith said he's always felt at home with Front Row, and he's looking forward to working with his 2 teammates who are great friends of his off the racetrack. Graphic you can see there of Front Row Motorsports. Simple question here, I think, as well. Can Zane Smith and Front Row pick up where they left off from their time together in the Truck Series? And do you think that Smith has a lot to prove after Trackhouse inevitably chose SVG over him?
Yeah, he was the kind of the odd man out, wasn't he, last year? We kind of all knew that Van Gisbergen was going to get the spot if they could sort the charters out, and that's ended up what happened. And it was unfortunate for Zane to be the man left standing when the music stopped with the Trackhouse game of musical chairs. But he's picked up a good ride here at Front Row. We saw, especially in the Super Speedway qualifying last year, how good Todd Gilliland and Michael McDowell were. Just tremendous qualifying attempts from them on all those Super Speedways. So watch out for him at Daytona and then Atlanta at the beginning of the season, because they'll have some fast qualifying speed. He's too good. He's one of those guys where you look at it, and we have this in Formula One from time to time, too good to be left on the sideline for a seat. I think Zane he's proved it time and time again in the Truck Series over the last couple of years how talented he is against, I guess, a lesser talented field. But there were some bright spots in the Cup Series last year, especially in the second half of the year, where he had some good results, as you mentioned. So, again, too good to be left out. If he'd found a ride in Xfinity, you would suggest he might be a championship, in the championship sort of conversation. So, he is of a decent standard. and now he's got himself a really good team behind him. Front row, continuing to every year make gains, in their pecking order. So yeah, pleased for Zane to pick this ride up, and hopefully it'll be good things for him.
And of course, NASCAR kicks off at Bowman Gray with the Clash, and then we'll be entering the Daytona Speed Weeks with practice, qualifying, and all of the duels as well. It's going to be a very, very exciting couple of months ahead of us, as we will basically just be at Daytona. And of course, a link with our Rolex 24, our pre-race show, is in the works, and you can join us for that at the end of the month. Moving on to our third story, and very much has been a hot topic around the world of Formula One, as today F1 has announced a multi-year extension with the Belgian Grand Prix to keep Spa-Francorchamps on the calendar 4 times in the next 6 years. Yes, you heard me right. That means that we'll see Formula One racing at Spa in 2026, 2027, 2029, and 2031. However, we won't see it in 2028 or 2030 as F1 begins to rotate some of the races based in Europe. The idea behind this move is to decrease the number of races in Europe and give F1 more opportunities to race in other countries around the world. CEO and president of F1, Stefano Domenicali, said that it was important to share the news of the race's continued presence on the calendar for the foreseeable future as the pinnacle of motorsport kicks off the 75th anniversary year, graphic courtesy of Formula One. I'll be attending the Autosport International this weekend, where they have an F1 75 grid walk. So I encourage you to tune in to our grid network coverage, as we'll be doing a grid walk looking back at some of the most classic cars in Formula One history and having some interviews with F1 personnel. You can catch that all here on the grid network. But Kobe's rejoined us now. We'll start with you. How do you feel about the Belgian Grand Prix going on a rotating schedule in a few years' time?
I'll be honest, Josh. I don't like it at all, and I think a lot of people feel the exact same way. We're talking about Spa-Francorchamps here, one of the premier tracks in Formula One, one of the classic tracks, that's been on the schedule ever since the very beginning of this World Championship. And you're telling me that you're going to put this on a rotating schedule? I just don't understand this move at all. I feel like that this is one of the tracks, that should always be on the Formula One calendar, no matter what happens. Like, although the race is not really great at that track, Monaco Grand Prix, given this prestige and its history, should always be on the Formula One calendar. And I guess we could say this thing about the British Grand Prix being at Silverstone as well. Those classic tracks that we all know and love and truly appreciate. And I don't understand why they chose this track. Why couldn't they just choose like another racetrack, that doesn't have the same prestige in history? And then you choose this one. I just don't understand the decision making behind it. But they try to justify, be like, hey, we get to keep Spa on the calendar for many years. Just once the next few seasons pass by, we'll have it on the calendar every other year. And I feel like Spa is, that track that just needs to be on the calendar every season. But it seems like they're coming from the angle of, if we go to Spa like once every 2 years, then when we go back to Spa again, you'll be really hungry to see the action, and the fans will, want to come out and buy tickets more than they would if it's on the calendar every other year. So I guess that's the perspective that they're coming from. And I do like the idea, of going to race in different places around the world. I just feel like they chose the wrong race here to switch on a rotating calendar. And it's going to be interesting to see what other Formula One races are going to fall victim of this rotating calendar, and which European rounds are going to, continue to stay, which ones are just going to rotate. And I also saw some talk about our 3 Formula One races over here in the United States. And my personal opinion, I'd be fine dropping Miami or rotating that one. That's not really, one of my favorites. I'm cool with Coda, cool with Las Vegas, but Miami, if I had to take one away from us, that would be the one we can give it to somewhere else. But I don't see that happening anytime soon. How you feel about this, Matt?
Yeah, disappointing, isn't it? I mean, what was it 2005, 2006? It went away for 1 year and then came back. But otherwise, it's been on the calendar pretty much since they stopped going to Zolder in the 80s. You're right. The classic, and you mentioned Monaco, Silverstone, Suzuka, maybe Interlagos, Monza. It should not move. Those are, your keystone, corner races of the championship. We shouldn't be messing around with them. I know there was talk about before Christmas about what Zandvoort was going to perhaps do, and maybe that will feed into this rotation. We talked through last year about this race in Madrid that is coming in however many years away that is, and that Barcelona's deal ends, and that's kind of all going to get played into this. Yeah, you're right though, Kobe. There's a few more European rounds that you would pick if you were going to rotate some out. Then you'd probably pick in front of Spa. Red Bull Ring springs instantly to mind, but money. So I guess we're going to have the same discussion that we've had in the last 10 years about there's too many races in Europe. I guess in another 10 years' time, we're going to have the same discussion of there's too many races in the Middle East, because we're going to have 2 in Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Bahrain, Abu Dhabi. Oman will probably have a race. Kazakhstan will end up getting a race. It's all that's going to be the next hub of all these Formula One races going on within about 20-mile radius of each other. Unlike Europe, where it was Germany. We've still got 2 races in Italy, of course, with Monza and Imola. Although I think Imola's deal is up at the end of this year, I believe I read today. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with them. Maybe they can fall into this rotation thing as well, but that's all being led by Stefano Domenicali, as that is his hometown, the F1 Big Cheese. So interesting. Let's hope though that those 2 years, especially, well, 2 things to hope for. One, we can't say tweeted, can we, because it wasn't on Twitter, but as I said on Blue Sky today, let's hope that the 24 hours of Spa gets its date back at the end of July, which Formula One nicked a couple of years ago, especially for the years that it's not on. And the 6 hours of the World Endurance Championship will be there. So if you want to go to Spa, there is absolutely 2 mega races that you can get to at Spa when the Formula One race, those 2 years that the Formula One race isn't there.
Absolutely. Now, I want to pick up on something because I've done a bit more research. As Ben says, we raced as one, but money. I want to pick up on something. Now, I have done a bit of research, and nobody has said yes, nobody said no, but it has been brought up between journalists in a bit of a WhatsApp chat, and everyone's been going, And it was sort of rumoured out last year, because we were talking about it, weren't we, when Zandvoort went off the calendar in 2026. Everybody said, why 2026? We thought it was going to go in rotation with the Belgian Grand Prix, one-on-one. And I put it in our chat earlier on, and I've messaged a few people, and they go, yeah, that seems to be what could happen, is that the years that have been left off are 2028 and 2030. Now, I'm going to bring this up to Crucial. This is all completely, at the moment, hypothetical, but this is going off. A couple of people have been thinking the same thing as me. What if we are going to have a rotation with Zandvoort? Because 2028 is when Max Verstappen's contract ends with Red Bull, as we all know. And if he takes a 2-year extension deal, that then becomes 2030, which is what is the common deal. You sign on for another 2 years. So what if they've left off this 28 and 30 because Zandvoort could be having the big goodbye of Max Verstappen, his last home Grand Prix? Because we know that brings in the fans and it brings in the revenue for Formula One, arguably more than Spa does. So do you reckon we could be seeing sort of a Zandvoort just being very much kept in the wings before any other races jump in for a reserve date with them?
Seems the most likely, doesn't it? And you also feel like if we were going to Zandvoort without Max Verstappen on the grid, or another Dutchman, I don't know, trying to think of any coming through the junior categories that are, you look at and go, yeah, they'll be in Formula One soon. Not only really Richard Verschoor, but I'm not sure if he's going to quite get there. It'll be a ghost town. It'll be an absolute ghost town if they go to Zandvoort and Max isn't on the grid. Much like the German Grand Prix was before Michael Schumacher was a thing in the 90s.
Nobody was there. Ghost town. And then Schumi won all the championships, and they suddenly went, hang on a minute, we need a lot more seats. So they built the stadium circuit, which is great, but it ruined the racetrack. Ideally, what I'd like is a combination of the two, where you get the stadium circuit, but you lose that parabolica swing in the middle, because you can just go straight off at turn 1, straight down the old circuit. And by the time you come back, you rejoin where that hairpin is anyway, and you get the Mercedes-Benz section, which provides all the overtaking. Yeah, so I just don't know why they never thought, let's just add it here. instead of butchering the whole circuit. Adam says Spa is legendary, exciting, incredible, and historic as well. My thoughts on nope, don't like it. Yeah, that's I can pretty much agree with Matthew Owens there. Bring back the German Grand Prix. I reckon we'll have a European Grand Prix or something like that where they'll fly in on a rotation. My thoughts on this is, but quickly, Matthew says, possibly a big year coming for the front row with Lane Riggs and Chandler Smith making a dynamic during the Truck Series. It's going to be good to watch the Trucks this year, I can tell you, after a bit of up and down couple of past years. But my whole thoughts on this is, I like that we're going to regionalize the calendar. I like how they're doing it a bit more as in we go from one location, then follow that around the globe. That's good. I like we're rotating races, but they're messing with the sort of the holy group of Grand Prix races, and that's not what needs to happen. Things like Austria, Emilia-Romagna, Azerbaijan, Singapore, we can rotate those races. We can rotate Miami or just get rid of it. We've got I think Vegas and Kota, they're good. And I never thought I'd say that after we were going off Vegas so much in 2023. But I think there are small Abu Dhabi. Why do we need Abu Dhabi constantly? It had one good race and everyone was raving about it. And that's not even 2021. The one good race they had was 2012 when all hell broke loose. So, in my opinion, they're doing the wrong calendar shuffling around. And I'll wait to see what's going on. But Stefano Domenicali is so far causing more trouble than Mohammed Ben Sulayem, who has kept quiet over the past couple of weeks.
There's a sentence you didn't think you'd hear out of this show.
No, he's kept quiet. And I look forward to testing. I can tell you that. But it's time for me and Matt to have a bit of a break and to hand over to Kobe for the latest from the rest of the world's news stories.
Thank you, Josh. It's time for some more motorsports news from around the world. And we're going to start off with news that occurred over your holiday break. So if you've completely tuned out for Christmas, New Year's, everything happening over the holidays, the holiday that you celebrated, we got you covered right here. And we're going to start off with Red Bull confirming the worst kept secret and the patent that Liam Lawson is going to become Max Verstappen's new teammate. Lawson became a Red Bull Junior in 2019 and quickly moved up the ranks from Formula 3 to Formula 2 and then a stop in Super Formula before making his Formula 1 race debut in 2023 at the Dutch Grand Prix for a then injured Daniel Ricciardo. After competing in 5 F1 races in 2023, he ran 6 races in 2024 after taking Ricciardo's seat permanently. Now with 11 F1 starts under his belt with Visa Cash App RB, Lawson is receiving the promotion of a lifetime. Lawson said becoming a Red Bull F1 driver has been a lifelong dream of his since he was 8 years old, and he's excited to learn from his new world champion teammate. With Lawson off to Red Bull, 2024 Formula 2 Championship run-up Isaac Hadjar will replace him at V-Carb alongside Yuki Tsunoda, who got overlooked. Hadjar becomes the 19th driver to be promoted to F1 from Red Bull's junior driver development program. He said he feels like he's about to step into a whole new universe, driving a much faster car and racing with the best drivers in the world. Graphics courtesy of Red Bull Racing and Visa Cash App RB. After not being able to find a spot in the 2025 Formula 1 grid, Valtteri Bottas will return to Mercedes as a reserve driver. Bottas has spent the last 3 seasons with Sauber and had a difficult 2024 campaign after failing to score a single point and finishing 22nd in points. Now he returns to a familiar environment team that knows him extremely well. Bottas thanked Mercedes for welcoming him back with open arms, and he's looking forward to using all the knowledge he gained to help the team progress with drivers George Russell and Kimi Antonelli. Photo courtesy of Mercedes. Dragon Speed will compete full-time in the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championships GTD Pro Class this season. So far, we know that Albert Costa Balboa will run the entire season in a number 81 Ferrari. However, joining him for the Rolex 24 at Daytona are Davide Rigon, Miguel Molina, and Thomas Neubauer. Interestingly enough, they entered a new technical alliance with longtime Ferrari team Risi Competizione. The familiar red number 62 Ferrari wasn't on the entry list for the full IMSA season or the Rolex 24, so it seems like Risi's going to have a support role with this GTD Pro program for 2025, graphic courtesy of Dragon Speed. After spending the last few seasons in Formula 3, Sophia Flores is switching from the road to F1 to the road to Indy this year. Flores will drive for HMD Motorsports in Indy next, so that means she'll be teammates with another female driver in Haley Deegan. Before deciding to pursue a racing career in America, Flores tested for HMD at Barber Motorsports Park and did 92 laps while improving her pace throughout the day. Flores said she's excited to race in Indy next in the United States because the country is more open to embracing a female racer and can't wait for the 2025 season to start in St. Pete. Photo courtesy of HMD Motorsports. Isabella Robusto will run full-time this year in the ARCA Menard Series. She'll drive the number 55 Toyota for Venturini Motorsports. Last season, Robusto competed in 11 ARCA races across the National East and West Series. She has already found some success in ARCA competition after scoring 3 runner-up finishes on a pole at Kansas in 2024. Robusto said she feels confident entering the 2025 season and has thought about the possibility of becoming the first female driver ever to win a race in ARCA National. Photo courtesy of Venturini Motorsports. And Matthew Owens already alluded to this, but Chandler Smith will return to the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series full-time this season after spending the last couple of years in the Xfinity Series. He'll drive a second Ford F-150 for Front Row Motorsports, who expands to a 2-truck operation alongside Lane Riggs. Last year, Smith drove for Joe Gibbs Racing in Xfinity and made the playoffs after winning twice. However, there wasn't a spot at JGR for him in 2025, which left his racing career in limbo. Now he has a new home with Front Row and returns to a series where he's found success with 5 wins, 24 top 5s, and 35 top 10s. Smith admitted the team has gotten off to a late start putting this program together, but he's excited about what they're building and the caliber of talent they're going to be putting around him this season. Graphic courtesy of Front Row Motorsports. After kicking off his racing career in America, Sebastian Weldon will start racing in Europe this year. Weldon will compete in the Italian Formula 4 Championship for Prima. He remains a part of Andretti Global's driver development program supported by Cambridge. The son of the late Dan Weldon won the Skip Barber Formula Race Series title in 2023 and won 4 races last year in the USF Juniors Championship. Sebastian said it'll be a new experience for him to race on European circuits and thanked Cambridge for continuing to support his career. Photo courtesy of Prima. Cookout will sponsor NASCAR's exhibition race weekend at Bum and Gray Stadium in early February. On Saturday, February 1st, Bum and Gray's modified division will compete in the Cookout Madhouse Classic. Hall of Famer Bobby Labonte will drive in this event with sponsorship from Cookout, while the Cup Series event will be titled the Cookout Clash at Bum and Gray Stadium. This add to Cookout's growing resume in NASCAR after the restaurant has previously sponsored Cup races at Martinsville and Richmond, including the Cookout Southern 500 at Darlington. Jeremy Reeves, co-owner of Cookout, said Cookout loves the city of Winston-Salem and racing. His son Max Reeves is also going to drive the number 18 Toyota for Joe Gibbs Racing in the ARCA Menard Series East races this year with sponsorship from, of course, Cookout. Graphic courtesy of NASCAR. Super Speedway racing veteran Mike Wallace will attempt to make this year's Daytona 500. The 65-year-old will drive the number 66 Ford for MBM Motorsports, and being in an uncharted entry means he'll have to make the race on speed or race his way in through the duels. During his long NASCAR career, Wallace has more than 800 starts in the top 3 series, including 11 previous starts in the Great American Race, with his most recent Cup race being the 2015 Daytona 500. So it's been 10 years since we've seen Mike Wallace in this event. Also, he has previous victories at Daytona in the Xfinity Series Truck Series and ARCA Menard Series. Wallace said he's excited to team up with Carl Long's team with a Roush 8 engine under the hood. Photo courtesy of MBM Motorsports. Tricon Garage announced its 2025 driver lineup for the number 1 Toyota Tundra in the Craftsman Truck Series. We'll see 4 drivers share this truck for the entire season. Those 4 drivers are William Sawalich, Brandon Jones, Brent Cruz, and Lawless Allen. Sawalich will drive at Daytona, Atlanta, Las Vegas, Nashville, and Watkins Glen. Jones will get in the truck at Homestead, the Bristol Spring Race, Rockingham, Texas, Kansas, Charlotte, and Pocono. Cruz will compete at North Wilkesboro, Lime Rock, RRP, Richmond, the Bristol Fall Race, New Hampshire, Charlotte Roval, the Martinsville Fall Race, and the season finale at Phoenix, while Allen gets the remaining races at the Martinsville Spring Race, Michigan, Darlington, and Talladega. Graphic courtesy of Tricon Garage. Vassar Sullivan confirmed its 2025 driver lineups for the upcoming IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship season. To everyone's surprise, Jack Hawksworth and Ben Barnicoat are being split up. Barnicoat will stay in GTD Pro behind the wheel of the number 14 Lexus, and Aaron Tilleats will be his new co-driver for the full season. Kyle Kirkwood is going to be back as the endurance driver, and he'll be in both GTD Pro and GTD Vassar Sullivan Lexus entries for the upcoming Rolex 24 at Daytona in just a few weeks' time. On the flip side, Hawksworth will switch to the number 12 Lexus in GTD with Parker Thompson for the full season, with Frankie Montecalvo doing the endurance races, and Townsend Bell is returning to the driver's seat for the Rolex 24, graphic courtesy of Vassar Sullivan. Amazon Prime Video is joining Hendrick Motorsports and will sponsor Chase Elliott through the 2027 NASCAR Cup Series season. We'll see Prime Video on the number 9 Chevrolet for 3 primary races annually, which will be complemented each year by full season associate sponsorship. Prime Video's first race with Elliott will be the Talladega Spring Race, followed by the Kansas Spring Race and All-Star Race at North Wilkesboro. These are the final 3 races during NASCAR on Fox's portion of the schedule before Prime Video's NASCAR coverage begins at Charlotte for the Coca-Cola 600. So 3 races with this Prime scheme to lead right into NASCAR on Amazon Prime, graphic courtesy of Hendrick Motorsports. And with that said, Matt, gonna turn it over to you for our first Hots and Knots of the year.
But before we do that, thank you, Kobe. But before we do that, just a quick reminder that the 2025 motorsport season kicks off this weekend with the first round of scoring races for the Grid Endurance Performance Index. That's the Dubai 24-hour race, bringing you the news on that in the normal EPI slot next week. And it's Formula E back on track for the round 2 of their season. Of course, we had round 1 at Brazil before Christmas, but they're in Mexico this weekend. And that is the first, but technically second, pick a winner point up for grabs for everybody for 2025. Myself and Alex Fleener got Mitch Evans correct for the Sao Paulo race, so we are joint top of the tree. There was 204 points available in pick a winner from now until the beginning of December for I think it's the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix is the last pick a winner point for the year. So it's all up on social media. If wherever you follow the Grid Network, then it's there ready to go. And as Joe says on screen, Ed from Formula E Zone, Josh and himself will be on air on Saturday to build you up for that Mexico race at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez in Mexico City for Formula E round 2 of the season. Josh is back with me for Hots and Knots for 2025. Kick it off. I have some hots. I don't know about you. I'm guessing you've had some Christmassy motorsport hots. The festive period hots, if you don't want to use the word Christmas.
We covered Perez leaving, didn't we, just before, as that was our last show of the year. So that was great. And then as soon as we did that, the next day it was announced that Liam Lawson would be taking his spot. I think that's a hot for me on one regard. Lawson is an amazing driver. He was fantastic in Formula 2, Super Formula, GP3 or Formula 3 as it was. He's won on debut in nearly every category he's been in. So he is a solid driver to have alongside. And if they're going to stick with him for as long as they stuck with Perez and don't do an Albon or a Gasly or a Kvyat, and if they actually want to develop him as a follow-on to Max Verstappen, then I think we're going to be in for a very feisty couple of years, because for Lawson to learn directly off Max and Max to pack it in 3 years' time, that's just about how long it'll take for Lawson to finish cooking. So to me, that's a hot. That Red Bull have taken a proactive decision against the likes of, you've got Leclerc being sort of tutored by Hamilton. Hamilton is still very, very fast. And even though he's on a 2-year deal, might do another couple. You've got Oscar and Lando at McLaren doing awesome jobs, and they've stopped bickering, we hope. So they're going to be feisty this year. You've got Fernando Alonso, who's got an Adrian Newey car. He may still be, 42, 43, but he's still a fast driver. We saw that a couple of years ago when he had a good car under him. But he's partnered with Lance Stroll, who was as bad as useful as... hard to be nice to Lance Stroll this year.
Chocolate fibre.
Yeah, that's probably best. Yeah, basically. So a Satsuma under the Christmas tree when all you want to eat is chocolate. That's pretty much it as well. But it's going to be quite an entertaining year for that. And my hot over the break has to be that we haven't sort of succumbed to nothing's going on. Things have been bubbling nicely under the surface. And I also, from our point of view, the plans that we've got this year for Grid Network, James Motorsports, USRN, Formula E and all that lot, all swirling around and all looks fantastic. And I've never come into a year going, oh wow, we're cooking this year, and we really are. We had a production meeting last Thursday, and I'm covering about the whole team, and on our channel we're covering about 30 series, and I can't wait to get going. So that's an ultimate hot for me.
So that I have 3 festive period hots. One of them was actually announced yesterday, Monday. John Noble has left the Motorsport Network. He left before Christmas and he's gone to the race So that's another good name that they've got on board, amongst other things. But he's joined the race, so that's good. One of the sort of prime motorsport F1 journos in the paddock has gone with everybody else basically to the race. Another loss for the motorsport / autosport contingency. So
It's
that's
a ghost town on Friday.
Right? Yeah, well, yeah, there'll be nobody there at all. I've got two more. One of them is quite lengthy, but I'll get the quick one out of the way first. At the weekend, Saturday morning it was. I was awake at 5:15 with Beth, the littlest, and she had the tablet on her lap, and I was watching the end of the WEC race from Fuji. And then the other two came down the stairs, and I said, "Can I please watch the end of this? There's 20 minutes to go." All four of us were sat there watching the WEC race at Fuji. I wish I'd taken a picture. Like, what is going on here in my house? That the three girls are watching WEC Fuji. That was just one of those moments. Also, from the festive period on the Sunday of Christmas weekend, been trying to get to this for a while and managed, just because I was on my own, jumped on the train and went to London to the F1 Expo at Excel. Which has just been extended its run until March. So this is more of a UK thing. If you can get to London, I absolutely say go. It took an hour and a half-ish to walk around the display there. They've got a cracking amount of cars. They've got the 21 Red Bull on display, the 18 Mercedes, I think it was, the 88 McLaren. Is there in all its glory, amongst many other things. So many helmets, lots of overalls, and there was, for the Netflix new fan, there's lots of stuff to learn about the history and where we've come from and all the technology stuff, and some great videos and stuff on the wall. They give you a set of cans and a blipper, so you can walk up and press against the thing and listen to whatever video was going on. So that it really, really good. And just when you thought it was right, this is the last bit, and I'm guessing we're going to walk around this corner here, and then it's going to be the exit. No, black area, two huge screens up on the wall, showing the beginning of Bahrain 2021, and there it is in the glass box, the Romain Grosjean cockpit.
Oh yeah.
And the goosebumps and the shivers, it all came flooding back, standing there next to that car, and you go, wow, how did he get out of that? I hadn't seen that stuff for a while, and on the big screen in the dark with it there, just stopped me in my tracks, to be honest.
I really want to see it.
And then just after that, before you go out, there's a sort of immersive room thing. I think it was called the pit wall, I think they called it, where they've got these like fake pit wall stand things up on the side, and then the videos start, and it's all these clips, classic clips, and just got the old yes, Formula One. Yes, I like this. Yes, this is me. Really, really, really good. If you can get down to London to see it, then I absolutely say go. And of course, it's at the XL, so you get to go to a racetrack at the same time. Because I was walking along going, oh yeah, they come down that hill for Formula E, and then they go down there, and that's where they have the custom house chicane and etc. None of it's obviously set up, but no mentions of it though, of course, because it's an F1 thing.
Oh.
You would have thought they would have had maybe something, but
like this is the track. Yeah, keep the grid at least. I put the hatching down, do something with that.
Yeah, they had the hall is split in half, so there's the F1 thing in one half and the Friends experience in the other half.
Oh, of course, yeah.
In there. So you can't access the track or pit lane or whatever, but you're in the same spot.
I can't remember who it was who told me that. It was really weird for them that they went there for the Friends experience, and where the Monica and Rachel's apartment was actually where the starting grid is. So they found it really discombobulating that it was there and there. So I found that quite funny. A little fact I've stashed away up there in the comms box. Yeah, I really want to see Romain Grosjean's car from that race as well, because I'm fortunate enough to have that reaction saved in a commentary, and Ian Burge dad alongside the commentary box swearing live on air, forgetting that he's got a live mic. But I've told the story before that we saw there was a red flag because our timing screen was ahead, and I clocked my eyes down, saw it was red, and I thought, well, what's happened there then? Is there a computer glitch? And then I look up and see one car dying off of, well, I think it was 2020, so it wasn't Kvyat, it was whoever, Gasly was in the other car, AlphaTauri, spinning off towards the gravel. I thought, oh, he's had a bad accident. All of a sudden, I saw a car fly into the barrier and explode. It's like everybody knows. I think you've got those moments in motorsport. Everybody remembers where they were when 9/11. Everyone remembers where they were when Kennedy was assassinated. For motorsport fans, everybody knew where they were when Ayrton Senna died. Everybody knew where they were when Romain Grosjean crashed. It's one of those things that sort of slam dunk define you as a motorsport fan, that these experiences go on, and petrifying, really. And I'll get down to it. But in terms of, you're going to ask about knots, aren't you?
Yeah, I have a couple.
I don't really think I have any knots, unless you're going to remind me, because Christmas has been. Oh, that's definitely a hot. Dale Jr. back in the 8 Budweiser. We covered that on the show.
On the last show of the year, didn't we?
The bird.
Stuff. Adam says Braxton Bush is winning the Golden Driller Trophy at the Chili Bowl in last week in Tulsa. 27 days to the Cookout Clash. He's on the countdown. 39 days until the Daytona 500. And Adam, less than 27 days or so to the Bathurst 12 hour. Matthew Owen says, don't get me going on about friends. No, don't.
If it's rained at Daytona and we're in the commentary box together, Matthew, we might need to go into that topic. Go for your knots, because I honestly can't remember any knots.
Well, I have 2, but they're really 1, because they're from the F1 experience at XL.
Ooh.
I had my Christmas money in hand, ready to go to the gift shop at the end and spit out. Yes,
no.
Unless you want, there was a gift shop.
Oh.
And there was F1 XL experience T-shirts and something else. A few books, Pirelli podium caps, Ferrari T-shirts, Max, the white with the M1X down the side, white Liverpool T-shirt, and a McLaren baseball cap. And that was about it. They could have absolutely cleaned up in there. Especially if it was on at Christmas.
Yeah,
coats, scarves from every team. I think there was some Williams T-shirts as well. But the gift shop was poor, very poor. So I've kept my Christmas money and I used it to buy my train ticket to get home.
Good idea. But they could have sold checkered flags. I mean, why? Yeah, actually, I've got a hot for you. Do you want to see it? I might actually, because it's going to thingy. So you lot behind the scenes are going to see something now that you don't usually. How do I take my green screen off? There we go. Let's just stay there. I got a Christmas present from my family, my brother. I have it here. This is what they could have sold: a checkered flag fleece. Now, why couldn't they sell something like that? Because it's fantastic. Because I've been wearing it as a cape. If anybody sees me on Instagram or Facebook, you can wear it as a cape. I'm going to try not to hit the microphone there. But look, you've then got a lovely checkered flag cape that you could have little kids running out of the exhibit going, I just went to the F1. I just went to the F1.
I know it's obviously it's an F1 thing. But they could have raked in all the people from Etsy and just had all manner of custom stuff in there. But the shop was poor. And my second knot from said experience within the technology room, I suppose you'd call it. There was the Pirelli thing. They had the tires out, all 5, 6 compounds, whatever they were, one of each, so you can see them. Please don't touch the tires. And the video, and they were talking, and it was Lawrence Barretto doing the voiceover on said piece about tires, and they talked about 2021. The key moment of the 2021 Formula One season was Max Verstappen undercutting Lewis Hamilton at COTA, both times in his 2 pit stops to win the race. Apparently that was the key moment. With my cans on and everyone standing around, because it was quite busy, I audibly gasped and laughed, and because everyone's listening to it at the same time, the guy next to me chuckled as well, and we both looked at each other and shook our head. Apparently, that was the key moment of the 2021 Formula One season, according to Pirelli.
No. The key point was the fact that Max Verstappen pitted under
We've done it to death, but I just went, "Oh God, really?"
Oh, it was fine. It was. It's what is it now? 4 seasons, whatever. It was Frankie Valli ago. Yeah. For those of you who don't know, that's the 4 seasons joke. One of the 4 seasons is Frankie Valli. So that's a very old joke I've stolen.
It was an audible gasp and shake of the head and laughing between myself and whoever my friend was that was standing to my right hand side at the time.
Let's have a happy hot. What was your hot from Christmas? Because my hot from Christmas was
Christmas. Probably was my 2022 McLaren Lego.
That looks fantastic. I saw that. I saw that actually as well.
On my TV stand in between the 2 BMWs, so I'm getting a little collection going over there.
Well, I had my niece and nephew come down, and they spent on the 28th and had them there for a day. That was a lot of fun. But the ultimate was actually. No, actually, I think it just was them, because I bought my nephew a battery VR monster truck thing that backs up, and he was running. It goes up walls as well, so he was doing it up the walls, and he was running over my foot and everything, and that was quite fun. So that was nice.
We got my nephew a purple remote control Lamborghini Huracan.
Oh.
Yeah, it's gone through many batteries in the last couple of weeks since, and now talk has arisen amongst the family members to go to Donington Park or Silverstone at some stage this year to take him to his first race. Yes, absolutely. I'll tell you what we should go to, etc. I'm already all over that. So, we'll report back in the summer when we've been to, I don't know, Brick Car at Donington or something.
Well, we're hopefully going to be at Silverstone this year as well, and you'll see Matt wearing one of these little tie mics as well, which it's making me look like either a Cyberman or Tony Stark. So I don't know what it's like at the moment.
Chest.
Yeah, just tap it and it's all good.
Don't look
I can make it go green. Hang on, where is it? Don't want to turn me off. Hang on. I can go green as well. How do I do it? Oh, there we go.
There you go.
Oh, hang on. I'm sure it's because it's green screen. I forgot. Actually, it's got a hole in my chest. Oh, well, there you go. Well, that's not a good idea. They're about to blue. Well, that's a design flaw for green screens on these, but I'll have to look. But so hopefully we're there. And there's many more coming this weekend as well. You already mentioned about Mexico City E-Prix. Be sure to take a look at our coverage for that. That's going to be on Saturday, a pre-show with Joe Samaniego and Ed Hunter from Formula Zone, and then a post-show with myself joining them too. I'll be in a hotel room in Birmingham as well, because I'll be at the Autosport International, and you can join us for coverage of that. We're going to be interviewing some very key players and hopefully getting word with Ollie Behrman as he starts his first full season in Haas throughout the end, hopefully from David Croft, Jenny Gow, Mark Priestley, and a few of the touring car boys as well. So make sure to look at that. And Matthew Owens, I agree with you. Please, God, no rain at Daytona this year. I'm with you.
Or Indianapolis. That's my one wish of the year. The Indy 500 starts on time and finishes at a good time.
Brendan says Fox 35 Orlando is the official local Fox channel of the Daytona 500. Fantastic to have that. I get confused by you lot. I've got different channels because it's so big over there. We just usually tune into BBC One or something like that, and it's the same.
It's just easy.
Yeah, it's confusing me, but that's because
quickly. Just open my phone. Another knot. I just came through on Autosport's Facebook today. We all know the story about Jos Verstappen and the petrol station.
Oh, yeah. What's happened?
Quote, I think it's time to clear up this story. The truth is, I didn't leave him behind. I just didn't talk to him for a week. Was that too harsh? ? According to Max, no. He felt that my approach prepared him better for Formula One. So Max Verstappen was never left behind at the petrol station, according to Jos Verstappen. This rumour and story and scuttlebutt that's been going around the F1 paddock for 6 or 7 years has finally been cleared up. Thank you, Jos. And I think that's probably the time to end the show.
I think Fox News is more believable. Not Irwindale
Yeah,
Speedway closing up. Oh, I forgot. Yes, I forgot that was
before
closed up
Christmas.
now,
Yeah.
isn't it? Yeah. That was not nice. It joins the list of deserted speedways that I'm sure I'll get a YouTube walkthrough at some point. But yeah, so this is going to be a fun weekend as we kickstart 2025. On Saturday, we've got our Mexico City E-Prix coverage. And then on Sunday, we'll have upload clips from Autosport International as well. So be sure to check out the Grid Network as well. And you can please do continue to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you very much for helping us reach 1,500 subscribers in 2024. Now, in 2025, we're inching closer to our next milestone of 2,000 subscribers. You can hit the bell icon to get notifications so you'll always know when we go on the air. And you can follow all of our social media platforms and visit our website, gridnetworktv.com, for a full recap as well of the 2024 grid ranking. A big thank you as well to Kobe, Isha Azim, Matthew Bro, Jackson Lambros, Jackson Todd, and our team leader, Joe Samego, for putting that article together. The link to that is in the video description as well. I'd like to say a big welcome to the Grid Network team as well, to Tanner, who'll be seeing on the air come soon as well. You can take 5 minutes to invest in the Grid Network through Patreon. You can join Colin, Mark, Michelle, Robin, David, and Matthew, who invest each month in the Grid Network. And we encourage you to join these fine folks to help us keep us on the air. And once we hit $500 per month, we can afford to send our team to the track more often and continue growing our media outlet. And all of that is in the video description. And believe me, it's worth it. As I said, this weekend we're Autosport International as well. And if you want to make a one-time donation, you can click on the Buy Me a Coffee link, get your name on the board, and invest as much as you want. And you can consider buying a specific on-air personality a cup of coffee, and they will thank you on the air as well. First show of 2025 is done for Kobe Lambeth and Matt White from Grid Endurance Performance Index. I'm Joshua Birch from JB Motorsports. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next time. Happy New Year.